Is
Like we've been having
is this in
rolling
Houston?
blackouts. Yeah, yeah, we've been having rolling blackouts because it's so hot and everybody is running air conditioning. Many people don't know Houston is the single most air conditioned city in America
Oh,
and one of the most air conditioned cities around the world. So we draw a lot of power, and we're
with
not.
the weather that y'all have there, I don't doubt it,
You know,
man.
it's
It
it's
is.
so I don't want to preach to the choir, bro, because I imagine if it's probably a little bit hotter where you are.
I mean, it's humid, but we have you know, it depends on where you are in India, but specifically where I am right now, the AC is blasting. Yeah, we're it's in use for sure. But I've heard about this. My homies in Houston are telling me about how there are these blackouts, and it can be very, it's random and very tedious too. Like especially when you guys are just, you know, just when it comes out of nowhere like this.
I mean, but it's been par for the course. That's part of living in Houston. I think you would have some experience with that as
Yeah.
well.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I haven't had the power cuts like this, but we've had that in India. They used to do that systematically, you know, back in the day. They used to take from 7 to 7:30, they would cut the power out for everybody every day back in the day in India, and because they were conserving on power. And you know, this was a big like it was part of my childhood whenever I used to come here for summer vacation. And but in Houston, man, I was just there during just a prime time when y'all were making incredible music, man. Like I just you know this is incredible. The fact that this is actually happening is huge because I used to like you're a legend. You got it. You know this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Tell me, man. So is that around the time where you fell in love with rap? Like when did rap like hit you in the chest? You know?
Man, so the thing is, like ever since I was young, I think that I've had an affinity towards words, right? I've traveled a lot. I've never really had a stable place where I stayed for too long. And but the thing that stuck with me was my affinity towards writing and poetry, right? I didn't know what to call it. It was just something that I was inclined towards, right? But then come Houston, that's the place that I stayed the longest. And what a place to be when you've built this affinity towards words, and then all of a sudden there's a culture of just, you know, expressing yourself in the most powerful, charismatic kind of way, right? That only Houston like culture and hip hop was able to show me. So I think that I fell deeply in love when I was just, you know, when I was in middle school. I had my phases, you know, I was listening to a whole bunch of music because I didn't know what to listen to, man. I
Of
came in
course.
as an immigrant, right? I was just like, you know, I had a little bit of metal, a little bit of, you know, like this pop music. But then when I got in touch with hip hop, I think that it connected to me in a very spiritual way because it was using your words to emote and very specifically like just the complexity of the word, right? And yeah, then it's just now I can't, you know, I'm in too deep. You know what I mean?
But that's the beautiful thing, right, about hip hop. Hip hop gives you a platform to speak your truth, right? But
Absolutely.
the more life you live and the more informed you become, and the more people you meet, and the more cultures you get proximity to, it allows you that when you do decide to use hip hop as a platform and speak to people, you can speak to a broader range of people because you've been inside or had proximity to their culture. You've lived in their cities. You know some of the food that they eat, some of the localized and hyper localized things that they gravitate to. And I think it's a beautiful thing because you are making world music. Like you're speaking from a hip hop platform, but you're making world music. We respectfully, all of us are making world music with the
Absolutely.
age of the internet because now the entire world has access to what we're doing, and the entire world has there's like the internet gives people a glossary, right? A dictionary.
Very much.
So you listen to music and maybe you don't know what they're talking about, but you feel it and you're interested in it. So now you can start doing, what did that mean when he said this? Because he was talking about this and then he used this word. So I feel like that word kind of means this. And then they start knowing it. And now before you know it, a kid in Houston understands what kids in India are talking about and vice versa.
Yeah.
So you know, I look at like your video is like cultural exchange, right? Like when I
Yeah.
look at the video, I think that's why everybody is so engaged at the visual of it because you offer people an entry point into a world that they maybe don't know or have never seen, but through a platform that they're comfortable and used to. So hip
Absolutely.
hop, yeah, they love the music, right? And then Jesus, what is this video? And it all melts together, and it's
Yeah,
giving people an inside view of an underground culture, right?
very much
And
so.
from the underground king,
From the
that's speaking right to
Ground
me.
King. Exactly what I was gonna say. No, the thing is, what you were saying, tying back to what you were saying, showing people something that they have not seen, but is equally as real. It's just on the other side of the world, right? And I think perspective is everything, right? And music being like music, and specifically hip hop being a medium of extreme communication. Like there's things, there's conversation, and then there's the way that music connects to people. I think that it's the blend of how it came together. I'm just blessed for it to happen because, even though I was showing and showcasing things that we see within the country over here, the references, as you know, we're making Pimp C references. We're having Project Pat flows, and we're paying homage to people that me specifically played a big role in shaping my views and my perspectives. How I think, and how music kind of resonates, comes out of me, right? So that blend, I think, was important to kind of bring the worlds together. And at the end of it, like you were saying, I think that's the beautiful thing about hip hop, because it has a way of connecting to people. Like you can communicate, the human interaction within it. Like it's not just, it's, you tie it into the human condition, right? A struggle can be understood from one side or the other, or joy can be understood from one side or the other. It's just how you say it, you get what I mean, and how you
Absolutely.
manage to put together that message. And then the rest is just, it's everything that comes in between, the melodies, the sounds, the sonics, and the references.
And that's the cultural exchange aspect of it,
Yeah,
right? Because and I could initially fall on, like, it all starts with the groove, right? Like
yeah,
music starts with the groove. Like before we even get to the language and the spoken word, if someone is singing or rapping or however they're expressing their words through music, it all starts with the beat. This beat is fucking crazy. It's undeniable, right?
yeah.
It draws people in. It's got a very strong energy to it. And again, it's got that hip hop, that metal aspect that you say you grew up to, having those musical sensitivities and finding ways to incorporate that stuff into the music, then having the cultural sensitivities as well. It makes it very hard for people not to like it and reject it on principle, because there's different things calling to people from different places. And that shit ain't, I'm gonna be honest, that shit ain't easy to do, to make a record that makes sense where you are and where you want to go. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? I think that's what people gravitate to. This, like, I don't know what this is fully. I'm not sure I understand it, but it looks raw and it looks
yeah,
real, right?
yeah,
And that's the kind of thing that I don't think can be faked to people. Like, there's a level of authenticity. Like, people's like, this is a real world. I don't know what this is, but this is a real world. People are really doing this shit. And typically, when this type of shit happens and people are spending money, everybody don't get to go to that shit. So you're like giving people a very easy entry point into the culture, which for me,
absolutely.
that's a lot of what we tried to do, because as Southern hip hop artists, we didn't get as much media exposure. We weren't
Yeah,
on or in all the magazines. We weren't on all of the video shows. We didn't get that kind of exposure. So what we tried to do was present our world in as pure and authentic a way as possible for people to be like, yo, I don't know everything they saying down south. I don't know everything they talking about, but that shit looked like that's some real wild shit going on. And it looked like some of the shit we be doing, but it's different cars, right?
exactly, exactly. I've seen it, and I'm blessed to see it, because, like, I think what the South managed to do was, okay, people are paying attention to, okay, there's other cultures and other styles that are more, uh, let's say, in the light. But what we're gonna do is look inwards and focus on building our own beautiful sound and trajectory and style and the stylistics. That's why after a while it's undeniable. I think what the South did when it comes to what y'all did when it comes to just music and the sonics of it, whether it's how DJ Screw brought in a completely different perspective to music,
Of course.
and was able to like, people didn't think that way, didn't even think that that was possible. And then all of a sudden you're screwing and chopping music, and then it came so naturally because it was a product of building towards, something that was authentic. I think it ties into what you were saying. And at the end of it, like, for me, for what we did over here, I think it's cool because, for me, I'm Indian, but I am just a part of a very much larger country. You get what I mean? So I can't fully represent in that sense because there's so many languages, so many styles, so much of culture, so many different traditions. That's because there's so many layers to the country. Most people, when you see it from the outside, it's just okay. We speak one language, we look the same way, you talk the same way, and I don't blame people only because everybody's got their own perspective and the bubbles that they live in. I understand this. I'm not gonna hate on the world for being how it's always been. But I think that what the cool thing is that we've kind of given perspective to be like, hey, there's things that are over here that are different than what we've traditionally been accustomed to, right? That it's not just this, the same kind of music that you generically hear when it comes to Indian music. And I think that that is very cool to see because there's so much more. I am a small piece in a much bigger movement that is here. And I hope that over time we're able to show that because, you know, I think it's important. I think that's the purpose, like you were saying, when it came to what y'all did in the South, it's to show the bigger picture because there's a lot more from what we're doing that's over here. You just need to pay attention. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And like for me, like I'm from Texas, right? I'm from, we started making music out of a very, very small town. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Only 50,000 plus people that even live in this town, very small town. And so when we started making music, it sent a message to other small towns that you could be comfortable being who you are, where you're from, and representing the lifestyle that you've seen, that you and the other people around you have been a part of. And in some way, someone's going to connect to something in that. They're going to see something. This is why someone like a Tupac, you see pictures of Tupac all over the world
Absolutely.
because of the way he spoke to that inherent struggle that billions, not millions, billions of people around the world deal with every
The
day. I
human
think what's dope,
condition.
yeah, and I think what's dope about you is that, like as you were saying, you represent your India, like the part of India where you from. I think even though it doesn't speak to all Indians, they know that you're talking about some real shit that only Indians really know about, and that's what
Absolutely.
they cling to. With the Ghetto Boys and the Two Live Crew and Atlanta and these different markets coming into fruition and having power and representation, that's where people like Nelly feel comfortable,
Yeah.
right? In St. Louis, let me rep my city. Everybody else
Yeah.
repping their shit. That's where Plies comes from, from a small town of Fort Myers. Like, well, we're in Florida too. We like Florida dudes, but we're a little bit different
Different.
in
Exactly.
how we Florida. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So being over here, I was curious as to, and you kind of explained it, how were you being received where you are through your culture? Because it's not all like I'm from this. I'm a black man,
Yeah.
right? But I'm a southern
I
black
love how
man.
the
So
fireworks came out right when you said
celebrated. I ain't even
that's
mad at.
that's
But
beautiful. I love it. I love it.
but black men are not a monolith, right?
Yeah.
So there are different representations of black men in America,
Yeah.
but there's a part of the black experience that I think most of us speak to
Yeah.
that most other black men can relate to.
Yeah.
And I feel like for what we've done, that's what you're doing now, is like you're showing, hey, it doesn't matter what part of India you represent that bitch, go hard for it,
Go hard.
and show
Yeah.
people that Indians deserve a voice in the space. That's just
Absolutely.
what we wanted to do. We wanted to be like, okay, we know New York is doing their thing and LA is doing their thing, but like Andre said, the South got something to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely, brother. I love how that's put together as well. No, the thing is from this side, first off, on a personal note, I mean, I like making music and I got into this because it is something that gives me it quenches my soul, right? I wanted to do this because at the core root of it all, this is what I can only see myself doing, right? But after this, the reaction to all this has been very interesting. It's been very cool, of course, to see how people have been, kind of we came together because of music, and the love has been incredible. I think that along with that, you know, there has been the other side of it as well, and that's okay. I don't expect to be able to I don't expect to please everybody, and I think that that's okay. In any endeavor that you do, I think it's important for you to be able to understand that, like, you stay true to yourself and keep your integrity, and the rest is all subjective. I think everybody else is it's gonna happen, and because again, like there is within the country, right? I think that we have a unique position right now to kind of bring everyone together. We have, there is obviously different areas. There's the north, east, south, west, all of which have their own styles, own languages, own culture, own heritage. But I think that the cool thing that we have right now is a way to kind of come together. Because, like, I don't know if you're too aware about how things are over on this side. People just like, I mean, I think I'll simplify it in the sense that there is, how you have your Southern pride in America, and everybody represents where they're from, their city, and everything. The same very much over here, to the point where now, but it can become a little toxic. You can see people fighting within, and for me, and this is mainly when you look at it from the internet perspective, right? You just see the conversations, but I do think that it's important that people do realize that we have a unique uh chance to kind of bring everybody together, and I'm speaking to my people on this point. And I like, I like I said, I am someone who doesn't believe in the idea that I represent all of India, because I am a part of something much bigger. You get what I mean? I think that I'm a proud Indian of where I'm from. That has never been up to dispute. But it is it is and like, I think that after people see me, I think that they need to be able to go and see the rest of what we have. There's incredible artists that are in North India, incredible artists that are in the West and in the East and in the South too. There's so much versatility, so many different languages, and I think that some things have been lost in communication in between. But again, like, I think at the end of it, the art and the music and the authenticity of it, what I follow up with this is supposed to do the talking more than anything else. When you bring this up, this is, I'm having a conversation with one of my heroes, so I will definitely, I'm explaining it in a cerebral level. But I think that there is for me, it's as simple as this: there's work to be done, right? This is just kind of the foundation of something. There's a lot more work to do, and there's a bridge that I think we need to build between cultures, right? Because again, there is, of course, people, you know Indians, and we know Americans, and we know even within America there are classes and different divides amongst people, right? And you understand that even within India there is so many class, like, divides within people, right?
Yes.
But I think that the only way that we can kind of really, you know, there is still kind of a separation in my mind, maybe the way that I see it, that I think that we can crack by just being authentic and making music. This is the way that I live and the kind of practices that I follow, and I hope for the best, man. I keep my head up.
Well, look, hip hop here is over 50 years old, right? We're celebrating right now the 51st year of what we, recognize to be hip hop culture.
Hip hop, yeah,
And we have fought to be a united front, right? Because different people came from different places and everybody wanted to be seen and heard equally, right?
yeah,
But everybody didn't have the platform, everybody didn't make the specific records, and for some people it just took a while for the fan base to catch up to what was happening and to understand terminology and how to bring all this stuff together. But once we realized that there was, as much as we wanted to fight for who's on the top and try to define the hierarchy of the system, we realized that from the outside looking in, no one was differentiating between us,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Everyone was boxing us in and everyone was labeling us as the same. And so for us, we had to fight for individuality without isolating other people in the group. So that's the message I send to Indian hip hop culture, because I know you guys are younger. I look at you can look at the UK for an
yeah,
example, right? It took people a long time outside of London to even understand the slang,
yeah,
the terminology, the tone, the accents. It took a lot for people to break through it to realize, oh shit, they just talking about the same shit we talking about. They
yeah,
just
yeah.
they
It's
just
hip
using
hop.
different
Yeah,
words and a different
yeah,
accent. So it took a while. So,
yeah.
I've been, working with Dizzy Rascal over 20 years, right?
Incredible.
Like knowing
Yeah,
exactly what he's speaking to, what's really happening in the streets of London and how
yeah,
real things can be. And it took people a while. It took the world a while to catch up. And now you have the Stormzies and the Central Seas of the world who can actually make impact in the US, because the
yeah.
cultural divide has thinned out, but it takes time and it
To
takes
build the
unity
bridge.
Yes, and it
Yeah,
takes strength. You know,
yeah,
one man building a bridge will take years. 100 men building a bridge will take weeks. You know,
absolutely.
so
Yeah,
I
I love
implore.
that. That's a beautiful way, because it's funny that you mentioned about the way that from the outside everybody viewed it the same, even though everybody was kind of representing, their side of the story. The same applies here. Like, you look at people that are looking at us from the outside, and you see infighting within, communities. To them, we're the same. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Within the country, they're just like, you're just Indian, right? But to us, we know the differences, but at the same time, it's important for you to put aside your differences and kind of make sure that in certain moments, again, don't forget the problems that we have. I understand that there's problems within each region and each, area. I understand that, and you shouldn't. That's not minimizing anything, but to also kind of, find a place and find a middle ground to be able to come together, because it's important in times like these, right? That's what, like, and the same thing when you're tying in with what happened in the UK. I think even with what happened with me, there's a massive hip hop community that's here. There's some incredible musicians, so much of talent, and I was able, I've been in this music game for, 4 or 5 years, and I think that time that I spent here was able to cultivate the right environment, the kind of right headspaces. I built a following over here that I'm proud of, and the people kind of got together, and then, but it was on the back of a community and a bridge that had been built over time, and then it took one song for people to be like, "Hey, what's happening?" You know what I mean? And it tied in. Now on the back of this, it's a lot more of building, but I think another foundation has been built in order to build a structure that can be, lasting for much longer than just a day or two. You know what I mean? I think it's very important.
Being from a region that operated on the outside looking in for so long, there it is. The fireworks.
I love it.
Every
I
time
love
I
it.
mention the South, the fireworks go off. I
We
love that.
celebrate. We celebrating you today, Bun.
I love it. I love it. But understanding the isolation, right, of not being a part of the bigger picture of what's happening.
Yeah,
Once we became a united front and showed unity, the
yeah,
perception of who we are changed. India is a huge country.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Billions of people living in this one country. It's no different than the way I looked at the South. If we're doing a numbers thing, we win,
Yeah,
right? In the
yeah,
South, you know, New York is a tri-state area, right?
yeah, yeah,
Maybe Philadelphia, Connecticut, and these different things, right? Um, and then on the West Coast, you got California, maybe Nevada, some Oregon and Seattle. But in the South, I mean, you got Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma,
yeah.
Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia,
Florida,
Florida. You know
everything.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
North Carolina, South Carolina. Oh, we have it. It was a numbers thing. So once we realized it didn't matter if we did the same thing or if we really liked each other. If we all wanted to win, we've got to support each other.
You know,
Because if we
it's
don't
correct.
support each other, we're
Yeah,
supporting the other people, right?
exactly, exactly. This is what made like UGK and what y'all did incredible, because this is what that, like, I remember being hearing these things, and this is the kind of engagement that's why I think that the fact that I was in Houston for my formative years was, I think it's just a very special city, man. Like, I have no doubt about that, because what Pimp used to say is very much this. What Pimp C used to say is this, was like, drop everything. Forget about, like, why are you guys doing the petty infighting? Like, this is like, let's make money together. Like, what's the point of all this? You know what I
Right.
mean? And I just love how it kind of comes full circle, man, because it's this is what we were saying, like, music being that medium, it doesn't matter what language, what background, because the human condition is relatable, and we found a medium that can communicate in that way. It just depends on the storyteller and the story you got to say.
I encourage you to just keep pushing for yourself, for your voice, and for your culture. Even if everyone doesn't agree on who should be where, it's going to
Yeah,
be very hard to dispute that the impact you're making isn't going to open doors for people because now everyone is having a bigger awareness of the impact that hip hop has made on Indian
yeah,
culture. Not that there's hip hop in India, but how impactful hip hop is,
Is,
and
yeah.
it's now reflective. We see this in Japan right
Oh,
now,
oh
very,
yeah,
very
massive,
strong, right?
massive.
You know what I'm saying? So I think this is just the beginning of people wanting to know what's more, what else is going on. And if you can look back on any other part of this journey, you can know that without even really outwardly making that effort, you're going to give other Indian artists support right now. This
Yeah,
video director is going to get a lot of work from other artists
he's
and
the best.
people, right?
He's the best.
I mean, because it's I mean, not only did he encapsulate this underground lifestyle, right, but he actually made it still a music video that, gives as much the culture is as much a character in this video as you are.
Yeah,
It's just as important to this video and this movement as you are. I think it's
yeah,
going to encourage other people, not just from India, but I think from other smaller, unheard, unseen countries to be like, you know what? We got some dope shit like that too going on down here.
hell yeah.
You know what? Let's show them motherfuckers how we do what we do on the weekends down here.
Yes,
There's a level of
sir.
empowerment that comes from the unknown and the unheard being seen.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
It lets
I
people
think
know that there's a chance.
it's it's the best way to put it, because I also believe in these, the video director, my brother Bijoy, and the producer behind it. These are my boys that I've started this journey with, and these the people I did it out the mud with. Like, we did it from the ground up. We stuck to our own perspectives, our own vision, and we kept through it, even though, there was a lot of flack, making music of our style within the country, that regional music is absolutely what's popping. Everyone was like, it's not working, man. Like, what's happening? We were just like, we believe in something bigger than this. We believe because, I mean, you might call us crazy, but we, like, at least let us have our belief. And because that is the fundamentals to anything, any movement that is worthwhile, right? So Bijoy is someone that, while I sit there and, fucking write and work on this whole idea of bringing the world together, whatever, like whatever it is, or, world domination or whatever, my boy sits there and goes, and he's like, how do I visually tell what's going on?
Yes.
How do I, you
Yes.
understand, like, how, because there's an art form to writing, and I dove into that. My brother has sat there and spent the time and the effort into making sure that visually how you represent things can make a world of a difference. A song can be incredible, but it doesn't manage to scrape or touch the hearts and souls of people the same way when there's a visual representation of how that made. Like, I think the video showed people how to feel, right? And the same
Yes.
thing ties into my brother Kony, who, shout out to Kony. Like, he loves the idea of sound. He sat there and just, he spent the time. We nerd out on this. We sit there and we listen to music. We talk about who we like, who we don't like, and then the man just dove into his art of creating sound. And this is a byproduct of that, because he put the art and the care within it. And also, I think it's important for you to try and build this is on a, forget about culture or where you're from, just as on a personal level. I think it's important to make sure that you build relationships and a vision with people and manifest things, because it takes an army sometimes, right? And it does I mean, as much as you can do solo and you must focus on oneself, I think it's important for you to take the time to make sure you build something with people that are worthy of that, because you have both been through the trials and tribulations together. You know what I mean? Like, we face that. So then we come to that place of understanding and we push.
I'm so glad that we have people from both sides that are hearing this conversation,
Yeah.
because so many artists think that all they have to do is get in front of the right person and get their music to the right person and be a part of their wave, and that's how it's gonna happen. No, build your own shit from the ground up. Get it out the mud. There's an artist here named Les, um, and that's what he does. He records all his music. He produces for himself. Now he still gets beats from other people. He does collaborative art albums with different artists like DJ Mr. Rogers, but while he's making all of this, the people that are involved with the visuals are typically in the studio. They're right there with the whole path, making sure that they're fully immersed in what the message
Yeah.
is so that they don't mess up the interpretation visually.
Yeah.
You don't need $1 million video. No disrespect to Cole Bennett. I think he does amazing work, but
Amazing.
everybody doesn't have the budget for that, right? And I don't think everybody needs the budget for that.
Understand.
And maybe that's not the way your sound and your message needs to be seen. Find like-minded people that want to make something and create something with you. That doesn't require a full budget. That doesn't require the amount of money that it takes to impress the people
Absolutely.
that you're trying to get to. Make impactful music, present it in an impactful way, and then the people you want to see you, they'll find you. They'll see you.
Exactly. Yeah.
They will find you.
Exactly. No, I think, see, that being said, see, this is the, on the back of this, I've been, making videos with my brother Bijoy for some time, and Call Me, we've been making music. Like, we did everything with very little budgets. We were just doing it because we cared about this. But I think, as much as the world can be dumb and misunderstanding about things, I also think that the world can also tell the difference between if you're being authentic or not, right? If
Absolutely.
and I think that because again it's that human connection, right? And so whatever it is, it doesn't need money. Some of these things we were carrying couches up to the top of buildings of construction sites, and we were putting everything down and doing everything, sweating it out, wiping ourselves down, and then shooting everything because we were like, bro, there's no one else is going to do this, and we
Right.
don't have the money for it. We just have a day, we need to get this light, this is how things go. And everything. But again, does that mean that the video diminished in terms of quality? If anything, it added to it, in my opinion. I think you can tell. You can tell that, there was time and care that was put into it. So whatever it is, in that sense, whoever is listening or having a thought of creating something, at the end of it you will find a way if you manage to spend the time and care into the craft. It's not, by all means, it's not supposed to be easy. We wouldn't be doing this shit if it was easy. I think it's the pain and the struggle are important because that is what gives us life throughout such a lifeless existence in so many ways. So I think that that's tied into it, man, is to facilitate that, and the rest will speak in your intention.
Look, man, the late great Rico Wade of Organized Noise said that it looks easy, but it takes somebody had to work very hard to make this
Absolutely.
shit look easy.
Yeah, you already know.
Look, man, I'm so happy for you, bro. I'm proud that you get to present yourself like this to the world and everybody gets to listen. But you already understand that there are people that are going to come behind you with this. So you're trying to do it the right way
I
and
expect it.
make it available for as many people as possible. I commend you on that. That to me is really the only reason to do this, is to make sure that you take the influence and honor everything that's been done before you, and then lay out a little bit more of a blueprint for the people that want to come behind you. And you do it selflessly, and you do it through the hate. That's the most important thing, is to keep pushing through beyond the hate. Because on the other side of all of that, even people that don't like you will eventually have to respect what you've done.
Absolutely, man. And hearing that from you, it just means the world. I think, it's important to keep these things in mind while we go about it. I expect there to be a lot more music coming from this side of the world. But on top of that, we're just gonna keep pushing it. We're just gonna keep having fun and keep striving to be the best version of ourselves. But I do know that you're planning on coming to Mumbai sometime soon. I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, a good friend of mine's brother is getting married, and
Let's
so they're
go.
gonna have, of course, maybe 2, 3 months of parties.
Let's go.
So,
So are
but
you
when
gonna
we
be
get
here for
closer,
that long?
no, no, no. I'm probably gonna come for that actual wedding
Okay.
week,
Yeah.
right? Or
Beautiful.
maybe one of the pre-parties. I don't know, because there's so many events around this wedding with this
Beautiful.
family. I have no idea, but I'm coming to Mumbai,
Yeah.
and so I'm definitely gonna tap in, man, so I can see that side. You know where I'm from. You've been here before. I gotta come see where
That
you at,
that
baby.
that's what I'm saying. Houston took care of me, so let me take care of you, please. Like it just there's a whole side over here that I can't wait to show you. And I'm also planning on coming on to that side. And I've heard that, you got that Trill Burgers joint that I've heard so much about. And I have been dying to try this. All my boys have been talking about it. They also say it's hard to get food sometimes because y'all are packed out. So I'm excited. I can't wait. Expect to see me on that side too. But yeah, this was an amazing conversation.
Bye. I agree, man. We can't wait to welcome you back on this side, man. Much continued success to you guys. You know what I'm saying? Stay locked in, stay focused, and just appreciate what you got going, and just
Yes,
keep going further. Just keep pushing, bro.
I
I have
appreciate
no
that.
idea how far it's gonna go. We don't know where it's gonna end. So until somebody comes and says, "Okay, it's done," just keep fucking pushing, dog.
Thank you, Big Bun. I appreciate that. It means the world, and I will be in touch. I can't wait. And I hope everybody who was listening to the conversation, I hope y'all were able to hear you know, what had kind of happened over here. Because at the end of it, to me, this is beautiful.
Look, man, let us know. Like, speak through the music. Let us know what we need to know about your country, your people, and your culture, bro.
We will
This
do
is your
that.
chance. Let the world know.
We will do that. We will do that. It is a process, but it's just beginning.
And for the other people that need to be represented, you're ushering a new way in,
Yes,
man.
sir.
So be proud of yourselves, for
Yes,
sure.
sir.
Salute, my brother. I know it's getting late. Have a great night, bro.
Take care. Take care, Bun. Thank you for coming out. See you.
Anytime, bro. Peace.